If you're thinking about that special trip to Hawaii and you're wondering about Norwegian's Pride of America, the only U.S. flagged cruise ship with an exclusive Hawaii itinerary, and you're asking yourself questions about that itinerary, about the condition of the ship, the customer experience, the food, the activities, the entertainment, and you're just not sure, hey, should I book this cruise? Well, we've got some really good news to you. So sit back, grab a seat, answer all those questions here in this video, a full review and comprehensive overview of not the ship, but should you book Norwegian's Pride of America for your trip to Hawaii? Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to The Sail Away. Same great channel, brand new name, really excited about. We're excited to talk to you today about our last adventure. We're a family from Nevada and we love travel, but we really like cruising. And we just got back from a very special trip to
Hawaii.
And it was special indeed. NCL has a very special ship called the
Pride of America,
which is exclusive to the Hawaiian Islands. It's the exclusive itinerary, and the staff is all United, well, not all, but is primarily United States citizens. Because of some very antiquated maritime laws, it makes the entire experience on Pride of America very different than any ship we've been on before. Although there were definitely some similarities and definitely some truly Norwegian things that stood out. But the question is, I think, for someone who maybe it's your first cruise or you've cruised before and you hear about the Pride of America and you're not sure, is this ship, is this itinerary going to be, a good thing for me? Or should I just go island hopping? All that sort of thing. So that's what we want to talk about. Should you sail on Pride of America? But prior to that, let's talk about actually getting to Hawaii. We're from Las Vegas, and so we had to fly to Hawaii. So we started off in Las Vegas, what we thought was a direct flight on Southwest, right? So we get on Southwest, and shortly before we're heading out, we find out that it's actually not a direct flight.
First, it was delayed. 2 hours.
Yep.
And then there was an itinerary change with a layover in LAX.
Apparently, you had to we had to stop and get gas. So stop for a very quick hop over in Los Angeles to get gas, and then over the Pacific Ocean to Hawaii. I am not a fan of flying, although the flight was smooth.
I thought they did a great job. When
we were landing, the plane had to do a go around because there was another plane on the runway. So that was mildly terrifying for me.
As someone who flies frequently, it happens.
Well, okay. Anyway, so one of the things there is, did we fly on the same day of the cruise?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Never, ever, ever. If your flight gets delayed or a change in itinerary, you want that buffer time, especially if you're changing time zones. Now, Hawaii is 3 hours behind us. However, the cruise normally starts boarding around 10:30 a.m. and giving the flight times, there's no way we would have made it. Absolutely none.
Yeah. And the Hawaii is roughly the same distance from California as California, Los Angeles is to Miami, Florida. So it's a massive flight. And you don't want to take any chances. But anytime you cruise, if you can go the day before. In fact, as we're preparing for our next cruise, we have that debate once again. Oh, we can just make it on the same day. But then, no. Go the day before. So we get to Hawaii, and right away, boom. The island of Hawaii is very, very beautiful, humid, great.
Landing in Hawaii, the first thing I notice is the climate change coming from Nevada. Very dry, very hot in the summer. Landing in Hawaii, it was about 88 degrees, but what felt like 99% humidity. But I loved it. It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
Immediate climate change. We found transportation from the airport to the hotel in Waikiki. Ton of hotel options in Waikiki. For one night, you don't have to make it complicated.
So getting from the airport, there was a ton of options. Uber, Lyft, and public bus. While we were waiting for an Uber or a Lyft, someone just rolled up in a taxi and was like, hey, do you want to go to the hotel? It's going to be $40, which was half the cost of getting
the taxi stand.
Yeah, and half the cost of the Uber. So we got a ride, we got a taxi to the hotel.
Real quick tip, do not search for an Uber until you actually get to the Uber pickup location. If you start searching beforehand and then you search again when you get there, the price doubles.
It just kept getting more and more expensive. Yeah, good point. So we get to the hotel, and where did we stay?
We stayed at the Holiday Inn Express. We had a couple of kids with us, so we were looking for a very kid-friendly hotel, but also one that had restaurants within walking distance, since the hotel did not have a restaurant itself.
And we have a full review of the Holiday Inn Waikiki. Ultimately, it was a place to sleep for the night. Would I go there again? I would not go there again.
I think under a different room.
Biggest Holiday Inn Express in the entire United States.
Yep.
So that was interesting. I would not stay there again. Just, to be honest with you, it was not very chill. But we do have an entire review. I'll spoil the surprise for you. There's a full review also on our channel of that hotel. If I was going to stay again, I'd probably stay at a more relaxed resort style hotel, a little bit closer to the beach. But that's just my preference. But it got the job done. We just needed a place to sleep. And then
board the cruise the next day.
We were traveling with a family of 9 people. And so we actually found, from the hotel district to the cruise port is a good drive. We actually found a really great deal with a limo company.
Well, to give you an idea first, transportation from the Waikiki resort area to the cruise port is about a $40 Uber. When you have more than 3 people, that's multiple Ubers. So we were looking at about $90 in Uber rides. Or you can book transportation with NCL. It's at $25 a person, which was also more than
almost $250.
an Uber.
Yeah.
So we looked at limo companies, and we found a limo company that had either a Sprinter van or a limo available. And it was only, I believe, $90, something like that. Wasn't bad. And it fit all of our luggage, and they kind of get a priority lane in the cruise port to drop you off as well.
And the kids felt really cool. They got to be in a cool limo bus. It was a good experience. So that's how we got to the ship. Now we're at the ship, NCL's Pride of America. What about embarkation process? What did you think?
Very fast. Very, very
Super
quick.
fast. Yeah.
You go through the passport check first. After you hand off your luggage to the port attendants, they take any luggage that you're not going to carry on the ship. If you do have any bottles of wine, you have to have that in your carry-on. You cannot have that in the checked port luggage. You have to carry that on. When you do carry it on, they will stop you at security after they scan the bag to make sure that you have the drink package. So you have to show proof of the drink package after the security bag check.
And if you don't have a drink package,
you pay the corkage fee per bottle that you're bringing on board.
Or they don't let you check it on.
Or they just confiscate.
Yep. Okay, so I actually do agree. This was the most efficient embarkation that we've had on a cruise. It was very quick, very efficient, and everyone was on point. Every single person was on point for embarkation. And my immediate thoughts of the ship, right when walking on board, was you can tell the ship just went through a dry dock.
Yes.
Everything was clean. The paint was fresh.
The lacquer on the wood.
Lacquer on the wood was clear. There was no debris everywhere. This ship looks really good after the dry dock. So if you're wondering, hey, is the ship looking good after the dry dock? 100%. And that was kind of the overall conclusion, was cleanliness and appearance of the ship actually pleasantly surprised me. I had seen a lot of old photos of the ship.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't know. Especially been on a newer ship like the Viva, which we love, going into the Pride of America. So what I would say is it far exceeded my expectations of the cleanliness of the ship, right? We'll get into actually the different sections of the ship as well. But what did you think about the room?
It's a standard inside room. We had an inside room. Configuration was a little weird, but it was kind of, if you think about most inside rooms and balcony rooms are kind of very vertical. When you walk in the door, everything's very long. Our room was very horizontal. You walked in the door and you had beds to the left, bathroom closet to the right. It was very all up in front of your face. So it was an interesting configuration. Not my favorite configuration, but not the worst inside stateroom I've been in.
It didn't feel cramped, but it definitely didn't feel big.
It did not feel cramped. No, yeah. It was a good use of the space that was there. I do wish the closets had more long hanging space. I brought a lot of sundresses, and it had the hanging rack and then 2 shelves below. And so any long dresses that I had got bunched up at the bottom because the hanging space was not long enough.
There was definitely some things that were old and that were there were things about the room that disappointed me because of the fact that it had been through a dry dock. there's a full review and walkthrough of our particular stateroom on floor 13 that you can check out the entire layout. And exactly like Ashley was saying, typically an inside state. I mean, this may not be typical. We just, in our experience, inside stateroom matches the sort of outward facing or inward facing match of the balcony cabin. So if you had a balcony, you would have, the end. And ours literally like lined going the same
Down
way
the
as the hallway.
yeah.
And it like, I was not expecting it. When we walked, I was like, oh, okay, there's the bed over there. That was very interesting.
I will say, like, looking at the other deck plans, it could have been the deck that we were on, because we were on deck 13, which is above the pool deck. And when you get above the pool deck, space is more limited. The decks are split in half. And so the inside staterooms are laid out differently. If you were more down on like deck 4, 5, 6, the inside rooms are more elongated.
So the one thing that was a common theme was our shower had a door, which I love, instead of curtain, but it flooded every single time. And apparently that's just the way it is. Yep. I don't know. Are other people in the same had the same experience? In
interior staterooms had the same.
Yeah. So, and we probably could have called maintenance, but then it's like they're there for half a day. Who knows what's going to happen? Just put down a towel. We just got used to it. Definitely disappointing. Not the end of the deal. I really wasn't upset about it, to be honest with you. But let's talk about different areas. So the first thing I want to ask you is, what was your favorite part of the ship?
I mean, I really liked the activities. I know that's not a part of the ship, but it is a part of the ship. They had several different activities in both the Mardi Gras Lounge and the theater, and I think they were very unique to Hawaii. Much like when you go on an Alaskan cruise, you have a state park ranger come on board. In Hawaii, you have a Hawaiian ambassador on board the entire cruise. He did a lot of informational sessions. He was the host of the different Hawaiian native dance shows. He was also the one teaching the lei making, which I personally loved, the ribbon making. So I thought they did a really good job of bringing in the culture of the destination onto a ship that really, other than that, had no Hawaiian culture on it at all.
A floating hotel.
Yes. The ship itself is themed after America and different American destinations. And I know that you'll get into the decor, but it was unlike any other ship.
Yeah. So what do you think my favorite area of the ship was?
Karaoke.
Yes, in the Gold Rush Saloon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, easiest karaoke access ever. Got in every time, and they were so nice, and everyone had a good time. And the one thing I mean this too. So they had a problem with the microphone. Do you remember that?
Yes. You couldn't hear anybody.
You couldn't hear anybody, and they really worked hard to fix it. A lot of times on things like that, they'll just be like, "Oh, sorry, it doesn't work." But they fixed that on the ship.
They had a good host.
Yeah, they had a good host, so that was really cool. So if you like karaoke, Pride of America is your kind of ship for sure. It was good, but there was a lot of really, really good dining. So let's maybe walk through a couple of the more common things and let people know what we thought about that. So,
right next to the Gold Rush Saloon is an entrance, kind of a secret entrance to the actual buffet. It kind of empties out into there. But
so let's start with the buffet. What did you think about the buffet?
It was a smaller buffet than I've seen on most NCL ships, but it didn't feel crowded. There were plenty of
much seating.
It's on the same deck as the pool, so you can sit inside, outside, on the back, in the middle, wherever you really want, or you can go sit in the Gold Rush Saloon after you go to the buffet as well.
Yep, that's a little extra quieter space a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, and during buffet hours, like peak meal times, they do have silverware and napkins and everything on the tables in the Gold Rush Saloon, so that was nice. And it's a lot quieter in there because there is some automatic closing doors.
Yeah, I would not recommend the buffet. There's many better options for eating on the ship, but this buffet was run very well. It was very clean. They had it stocked up all the time. The buffet really, it's not like, it ran 5 out of 5, I would say. Like, they ran the buffet very well. I've seen buffets run a lot worse on a cruise ship, so they did a really good job there.
There was never a time we walked through where they were out of food on any particular station. I don't ever remember like walking through and them kicking us out because they were closing. Like they were very accommodating.
Yeah.
There was always fresh fruit available.
Yeah.
The fruit was kind of like separate from the main courses, so
there's
you
7
could
stations.
Walk through and get fruit on like basically any time of the day.
Yep.
So that was nice. And then there was a little secret buffet on the back. Do you remember what that was called?
The buffet in the back is a smaller buffet called the Key West Bar and Grill, where you can grab little, quick, tiny items.
But also of dining specifically. But let's talk about that really quickly. So on NCL, you're going to have included dining and specialty dining. With the inside stateroom, we got one specialty dining.
Yep.
But we ended up purchasing others because I think specialty dining is great. But you also have included restaurants. On NCL, on Pride of America, you have a couple included. We just talked about the buffet.
Yep.
Cadillac Diner is like the local. So it's the 24-hour
eatery.
I thought that was great. That food was so good at the Cadillac Diner. Service was great.
It was also the only place you can get a milkshake. They're only $4.
Yep.
Pretty reasonable.
Cadillac Diner was great. And then you have Skyline.
Yep. Skyline and Liberty are the two main dining rooms.
And
they're the same entrance, but like on top of each other. So Skyline is the bottom. And then if you go up the staircase that looks like you're not supposed to go up, that's Liberty.
Yeah.
Highly recommend Liberty over Skyline.
Yeah, I like Liberty too. The ambiance, we'll get to ambiance in a second. We only had one sort of negative experience, and that was at Liberty. It wasn't even worth mentioning, if I'm being honest with you. It was just not as good as everything else, is how I would describe it. But Liberty and Skyline for your main dining, but also for breakfast. You can do the buffet, or you could do Cadillac Diner, I'm imagining. Yes. We never did that. But Skyline. My number one tip there for breakfast is, in the morning, if you're on the cruise, go to Skyline, sit down, relax a little bit, plan out your day. It's way better than going to the buffet. In the morning, the buffet is a little bit chaotic for my tastes. So just go grab a seat. I can't remember any time that we waited more than 5 minutes to go to Skyline.
Never.
In the morning. So obviously that's also a tip. But let's talk about specialty dining then as well. You have a number of sort of favorites. Let's talk about where we did not go first. We did not go to Moderno.
We did not. Moderno is the Brazilian steakhouse on board. We have been to it on other ships. It's your typical Brazilian steakhouse.
It's also at the end of the buffet, and it doesn't look as premium. But we did go to La Cucina, which I think is the best value for specialty dining.
It's only a $40 cover charge, and
so much food.
You get an appetizer, a pizza, a main dish, and a dessert. Like it's a lot.
Yeah, and La Cucina looks brand new. I think it looks like a brand new restaurant in any big city. A brand new Italian restaurant. It's Italian, by the way.
Yes.
You also have Cagney's. We never miss a Cagney's on a ship. I love Cagney's. Cagney's was good. The only thing I think that with Cagney's on Pride of America was they do cycle through their staff a lot more on Pride of America because of that same thing we talked about. Our server in Cagney's is just very clearly had not been there a while. Mm-hmm. And in every other NCL ship, they were like veterans to the Cagney's experience. It was just a much more elevated experience. We did not have a bad experience, but compared to everyone else,
it's not what you expect from a high-end steakhouse.
Yeah, a very good example was I got a baked potato, and he brought out just the baked potato, and it was just like,
none of the toppings.
I feel like there's something missing here, friend. I really do. But the food was still delicious. The steak was amazing.
He had no knowledge of the wine list. He had no knowledge of some of.
But he was very polite, and he worked very hard.
Yeah,
it was not any issue of attitude.
It definitely wasn't his fault. He should not have been put in that position.
Yeah, and then we also went to the Pride of America version of La Bistro, which is called
Jefferson's Bistro,
which is themed after Monticello, which I think if you go on Pride of America and you can only pick one specialty dining, because of how special Jefferson's Bistro is, I would recommend you pick that one. I think it's a very special experience. It's so different than La Bistro, and it's very specific to this ship that's my recommendation.
The decor is definitely different. It's a French bistro menu, but the decor, it's not your typical French bistro decor. Yeah. But it is a great place to get seafood. They have excellent sea bass. They have great, just different fish dishes on there. And an amazing chocolate dessert.
And the service was the most elevated at Jefferson's Bistro. That's where I thought the service was the most elevated, for sure.
It's the one place they do use a crumb scraper on the table.
Indeed. Yeah, but I thought that was great. Are we missing any specialty dining that I didn't think about?
I don't think so.
I'm not.
Oh, teppanyaki.
Ah, yes. So there's also East meets West.
Yes,
which is two things.
Three things.
Three things, yep.
Technically.
Yep.
There's East meets West, which is like a noodle bar. There is the sushi counter where you can actually
which is actually part of that
sushi, but it's a separate menu.
It can be, yeah. That's it's very confusing.
And then there's the Teppanyaki bar, which is in the same area, but it does have doors. It closes it off. And the weird, unique thing about this Teppanyaki bar is every table goes at the same time. They have two seatings. They have a 5 and a 7, and you have to choose one of those times. There's no other times. Every table gets seated. There was, I think, 4 or 5. No.
There's 4 total tables.
4 total tables.
Which is very small.
And then they close the doors.
Yeah.
Because it's very so loud.
Yeah.
They close the doors so that the East meets West portion and the sushi counter.
It's a very good use of space.
Yeah.
It's a good use of space.
But it was a very interesting experience. Normally you don't have the same cooks on the same circle cooking at the same time back to back, so that was different.
And normally it's much bigger space.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It's probably half the size.
I did appreciate the windows though. Most teppanyaki bars on a cruise ship are not in a space where there are windows so you can see outside. This one is right up against the windows.
And we could be biased because we've been to a couple different teppanyakis, and I feel like once you've seen one, it's kind of the same show. But I would also say like the energy level on this one was not as high. And that could be the space too. It could be the space. The kids loved it. The kids thought it was cool. Yeah. They had a lot of fun.
They thought it was hilarious.
So it was not a bad experience. But when I compare Teppanyaki on Bliss, for example, that was a very different, very high energy experience, but definitely worth it.
The one thing I don't appreciate is they do come in and take a group photo, and then like they hand you the photo, and
it feels pushy.
You don't realize that you have to buy the photo. And number one, like it's a huge like waste of resources and paper.
Not very sustainable.
Not sustainable at all. They could easily show you that photo digitally and ask you if you want to buy it or not. But they do like physically print it out, put it in a folder, and hand it to you, and then ask you if you want to purchase it, which seems it's very car salesy.
Yeah.
And they
which
only
I think
do that
even printing,
in that restaurant.
Even printing it, I'm like, okay, for what they probably sell, it probably pays for itself to print that. But it just really felt pushy.
It's still a waste.
It felt like, and like it was to end the night. Yeah, you're right. Like to end the night feeling sort of like pushed into that was not a great way to end it. But you know, I get it. It is what it is. So overall I would say dining met my expectations. I would not say it exceeded my expectations, but it definitely met my expectations. In terms of other entertainment, we'll get this right out of the way. The spa, much smaller than our typical experience.
And no windows.
And we did not partake in the spa. It doesn't have like an enclosed pool spa area. Didn't seem worth it. The gym was very nice.
Yeah, I mean, with the spa too, like most thermal lounge spas, the thermal lounges are in front of a huge bay of windows, and you're paying for that view as well.
Yeah, it's like
this
in a dark
thermal
room.
lounge was in a dark view, staring at a brick wall.
Yeah,
like literally a wall. There was nothing to see.
Yeah,
nothing.
It was also less than a normal spa because it had less things. But I was a no on the spa. But I wasn't disappointed. The gym was very clean.
Gym was great.
Pool, we did not partake in the pool, but the kids that did really liked it. It was clean and it wasn't busy. It wasn't busy. Not packed at all.
They have 2 sides to the pool, and they have ample hot tubs. There was never a problem getting space at the pool.
Yeah. Okay, so that's some of the main amenities. Let's talk then about the bars. Want to talk about the bars?
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one most underutilized space was the wine bar, the Napa Wine Bar. You could
in front
walk
of Cagney's
right up to that bar anytime and get a drink without having to wait or ask or anything. Like there was hardly ever anyone there. Also a great like quiet place to kind of sit down and have a conversation with people you're traveling with, or play cards or whatever you want to do. But very underutilized. They have both the bar seating as well as smaller like lounge seating around the bar.
In terms of the bar, I never had to wait more than 3 minutes to get a drink on the ship.
Ooh, I did.
Okay.
At the pool bar.
Okay, there you go. Fair enough.
The pool bar service was terrible.
That feels like most pool bars are rough.
Yeah, but they favored the center of the bar, and the bartenders did not look at the sides ever. So they favored what was literally right in front of them. And so unless you lined up right in front of them, you did not get acknowledged.
That makes sense. I mean, other than that, I had a very good bar experience. My favorite bar was actually the one at the bottom. John Adams was my favorite bar. I thought they were great. Very personable. Good bar. Good stuff.
I liked Pink Champagne Bar.
Pink Champagne
mostly
was good.
because it was always like on the way to wherever we were going.
Yeah,
It's
good
in
point.
the center of the ship. It is right on deck 6. So if you're going to dining on 5 or 6 or 7,
Like the traditional atrium.
yeah, it was right there overlooking like
There's a piano there.
the floor of the atrium. There's a piano there. They always have live music
Good
there.
seating.
Tons of seating around. It wasn't hard to find a seat. The bartenders were great, but it was just always on the way. It was a great place to stop, pick up a drink, keep going.
Now, on the subject of bars and drinks, so we had the drink package. Something that was new, that was actually probably one of the largest expenses on our trip.
And unique to this cruise.
And unique to this cruise was almost always there was a fee when you get a drink. It's a port tax.
It's a drink tax, yeah.
Yeah, because most of the time, except kind of later in the evening when the ship leaves the port, most of the time you're still technically at port, and your drinks come with a small drink tax. It was like 75 cents to $2, depending on the drink tax. But that did add up. I mean, $2, $3, $4 at a time over the course of the cruise. It was
It does add up. I mean, if you think about it, any other cruise that leaves from a port, like if you're sailing out of LA, you're going to pay that same drink tax while you're in port in LA when you first get on the ship.
Yep.
It's just the differences in international ports. You don't have that. Because these were all US based ports, you have that every single day.
Yeah, it was wild. There's also no casino. So
No casino.
Didn't spend that extra money on the casino, which is true. But yeah, I thought the bar experience was, I mean, I would say the caliber of bar staff was not compared to Viva. I think Viva had the best bar staff overall.
Okay.
And then I would say that this ship, they were all very nice. Nobody was anything but kind. It wasn't quite that sort of connection. Like they weren't investing the time. And maybe that's an American staff thing. I don't know. But nonetheless, I actually prefer not having to wait 10 minutes for a drink to talk to the nice bartender. Like I very much preferred that. So I would categorize that as a win. You talked about entertainment. Is there anything else about entertainment you want to talk about for the ship?
I did appreciate the authentic Hawaiian dancing show. They had a couple of game shows. They had the not so newlywed show, which was
that was fun.
It was pretty fun. But I do love, like on a lot of the other ships, they'll have some sort of craft. On this one, they had lei making, and they had 2 different kinds. They had the actual traditional flower lei making, and then they had ribbon leis. But they didn't just, pass out supplies and tell you how to do it. They told you about the history of the lei and why there's different types of leis and who received each particular type of lei depending on the occasion. And again, that was the Hawaiian ambassador on the ship every time telling you what happened. And when you do the flower leis, you do eat a petal of the flower.
Fun tip.
Just forewarning. And there's a reason for that, but it's actually a pretty cool experience.
One of the things entertainment caliber wise, one of the things I actually enjoyed almost every night in the theater, Hollywood theater, they played movies. I personally liked that. I liked seeing a quiet classic movie at the end of the night. It was a good way for me personally to unwind. Not every ship does that. But the caliber of the show, they were all very good shows. They were not of the same caliber.
They weren't Broadway shows.
They weren't Broadway. They were not high production shows. So they were, it was like very high-end community theater. That's what I would describe it as. But still very good. The dancing was good. The singers were good. All that sort of stuff was good. I love those Broadway style shows on ships. I think NCL's missing out. I think that's something they're really starting to tighten up on, but I think it's a huge mistake. It's causing me to be more open-minded looking at other types of cruises, because I loved seeing Six. We saw. Beetlejuice. It was okay. Still thought it was a fabulous production.
Yeah.
Jersey Boys, great show. a good Broadway show just makes you feel like you're getting more value. And the absence of that, like if you've never been on a ship before, you might even know you're missing it. But the absence of that is definitely felt. And I just like a lot of our wow moments on cruises have been a really great show at night. And that's not on Pride of America. And it's not on a lot of Norwegian ships, which I think is a miss.
They usually do pair that with like the formal dress night as well. So it does make it feel like a nice evening out on the town kind of a thing. And like you pair your formal dress, you go to a nice dinner, then you go to a Broadway show, and it's a whole experience. And this particular ship definitely did not have a formal night at all.
You're putting that together on your own, yeah.
Not that you have to do it on other ships, but they do say, hey, dress your best. We'll have photographers in the atrium if you want family photos or whatever it might be. They did not do that on this ship.
Yeah. So, that's the ship life, if you will. The one thing that I know you really like to do is shopping. That was pretty much non-existent on this ship.
I mean, there is one shop that was open most of the time. It was typical Hawaiian souvenirs. Honestly, the better shopping was on the islands.
Yeah. So let's get to that.
Well, before we moved there, the kids club and the teen club.
Yeah.
The teen club was just newly renovated and physically moved to a different part of the ship. Our son said it was great. Yeah. They had plenty of game consoles available. They had a table tennis, a foosball table. They had activities. They had structured games. They actually had one day where they did a scavenger hunt. And then they had another day where they did kind of a version of capture the flag. They split into teams. Each team had a glow stick. They had to hide it somewhere on the ship. The only rule was it couldn't be in shops and it couldn't be in food. So one team, our son's team, he hid it in the water dispenser on the pool deck.
Okay.
Wasn't a food thing.
Sure.
They let it go. And it was a really fun, kind of engaging thing. The one thing I will say about like programming around the kids, a lot of the other NCL ships have more family programming. Yeah. Like we've been on ships where they did an egg drop contest where at the beginning of this cruise, you got the assignment, you could collect supplies. On the second last day, you had to drop an egg from the top floor of the atrium to the bottom, and whoever was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a family activity. They've also done like family scavenger hunts.
Yeah.
They've done family game night. This ship just didn't have that. They didn't have any family programming with the kids club and the teen club.
Yeah, we're getting long on time, so let's go. That's ship life. Itinerary, we did actually cover each day, so you can go back and look at the playlist. You see each of the 7 days. What we chose to do, we really focused on maximizing affordability in our time, which is totally, I think, kind of how we like to roll with cruising. I will say, you could easily spend $1,000 per day. Excursions, in-port, shopping, dining, all those kinds of things. We chose a different path, but aside from what we chose to do, what did you think of the actual island itinerary?
I think the ports they leave something to be desired.
The physical port.
The physical
port.
The
location of where the ship docks.
It's like you think of Maui, most people think of Lahaina shores. You're not going to Lahaina. You're on the opposite end of the island from Lahaina. Yep. So if whatever way you can to get out of the port, do that.
Yeah.
Uber is very, very cheap. Just going
at the time of our sailing.
At the time of our sailing. Just going 5 miles down the beach was well worth it. It gets you out of the port, out of the industrial traffic stop kind of area, and it gets you onto like the side winding roads that you think of when you think of Hawaii.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are approaching it the same way we do, which is like you are trying to be budget minded on your cruise. If you are very budget minded in this cruise specifically, it's going to be tough because
doable.
It's the adjacent areas to all of the ports, with one exception, the final day, or the final 2 days. If you're limited to the near area, it's going to be rough. It's not the best experience. And you probably might not enjoy your cruise.
Yeah.
If you can't get out of that area, you're not going to have the full Hawaii experience. I will say, and we'll get to this in a little bit, but if I chose to go back on Pride of America, I would probably add 2 more excursions. I did not do any excursions. You did 1 excursion.
I did 1. It's the highest rated excursion in the whole cruise, both through NCL and not through NCL. Any excursion you do through NCL is going to be exponentially more expensive.
But you also have the guarantee.
Even compared to other NCL excursions. The excursions in Hawaii are just overall more expensive.
Yeah.
But I did the backcountry tubing excursion. Highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. It's phenomenal. Backcountry tubing excursion, well worth it. It is a longer excursion. Like you check in, they take you up the mountain to where the old sugarcane plantations are, and then you ride the tunnels back down, the trenches of where they transported the sugarcane from the mountain down to the ports.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. It rained in the middle of it, which kind of made it a little bit more fun. It was very wet, but very cool. Other than that, like, you don't need to book an excursion to see turtles.
Sure.
Definitely don't need
also
to do
in
that.
our videos, how you can do that.
Check out the video about the turtles.
Yep.
If snorkeling is your thing, there are plenty of places to go snorkeling without booking an excursion through NCL.
I think one example of a not excursion was on our final day in Kauai.
Yeah.
There's a great beach that was within 10 minutes of the ship. We rented a bodyboard. It's $25
for the whole day.
And we literally spent the whole day at the beach, right?
Yeah.
So for $25, we had the whole day at the beach. It was a really, really good experience. But my overall tip there is two things. Number one, you do need to get away from the port to have a good time, to see things. That requires a little bit more planning. And then honestly, if I was going to go back, I would say, let's go ahead and get a more formal excursion on 2 days. That's what I would want to do. Now, seeing it, hindsight's 2020. But if I were going to do that, I would do something a little bit more exotic, just because I was more comfortable. But yeah, I think overall the actual itinerary, I think, is really smart. And a lot of people go to Hawaii, they stay on one island. Maybe they go to another one. But the great thing about Pride of America is you get to see all of these different ports, and you keep your stuff in your room every single night. They travel when you're sleeping, so you wake up in a new, different part of the island. And I would say overall, like that part, I'm really grateful for the way their itinerary handles Hawaii. I think it's great. But let's maybe get to overall thoughts and recommendations. What are your overall thoughts and recommendations?
I mean, my overall recommendations is, for us, when you're in a port every day, there's no point in booking a balcony room if you don't need to. Like, inside stateroom, just fine. You're never in your room. You're getting off the ship every single day. There are 2 overnight ports. Yeah. So 2 ports, you don't even have to be back on the ship at a certain time.
Come and go as you please.
Come and go as you please all night long. There's no curfew. Come and go as you want. So I think the inside stateroom was the way to go for us. It saves you a little bit of money that then you can then put towards experiences or excursions. My number one recommendation is always fly in the day before. Yeah. Don't mess around with flights right now. It's just not worth it. Like, it's going to ruin your entire week if you miss the boat.
Yeah. So we were very fortunate to have the opportunity. Her parents gave the whole family this trip for Christmas. So first of all, thank you if you're watching. Second, so I'm not sure that Pride of America would have been on my top 10 cruises to pick. I'm not sure it was there. I don't know about you.
It was on mine, only because I have been to Hawaii before. It's not, although it was a very different experience than I've had before. Previously, I had gone to Lahaina, and Lahaina had basically burned down a couple of years ago. So I knew it wasn't going to be the same experience, but I knew I did enjoy visiting Hawaii. So even if the cruise ship was terrible, I knew we were going to be in a port every single day to get off the ship, and it was going to be fine. Yeah. But it was on my list to go to, only because I had not been to Hilo before. I had also not been to Kona before. I had been to Kauai when I was in high school, so quite a while ago, and completely different part of the island again. So it was a good experience for me.
Would you go again?
Yes.
Okay. So I also would go again. I have to say, like I said, it was not on my top 10 cruise, my top 10 cruises. However, Pride of America consistently exceeded my expectations with very few things that I think they could have been a little bit better at. But overall, consistently exceeded my expectations for the following reasons. The ship was very clean for a ship that's over 20 years old.
Yes.
The staff was very on top of things. I mean, I'm going to be very honest with you. I thought I would see less maintenance, less cleaning, less staff in and out of the bathrooms, that kind of thing. Not at all. Always on top of it, which I thought was great. The food quality was on par with any NCL ship we've been on. Some was better, some was a little bit worse. The itinerary was a lot of fun, but overall, like the combination of all those things is a very, very value-packed cruise that I think was just an overall value. Overall, if you're asking yourself the question, should I go on Pride of America? I would not pick this as a first cruise.
No.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't necessarily deter seasoned cruisers from picking this one.
Yeah.
It was better than some cruises we've been on for sure.
If you've never been on NCL, do not make this your first cruise. That's my primary recommendation. This cruise is not the typical NCL experience. For more on which cruise I would pick, check out a future video. But if you've never been on NCL, don't make this your first cruise. If you've been on other cruises before or NCL cruises before and you're comfortable with that experience, big yes. Definite yes. Exceeded my expectations. Great value, great ship, really clean, great staff, and I think it's well worth your time and effort. So if you're wondering the question, should I book Pride of America? I hope that's helpful. Thanks for watching the sail away. We are actually actively planning our next cruise. So in our next video, I want to tell you a little bit about something I think a little surprising that NCL did to change their packages that I think you should be aware of. But if you're wondering, should I book Pride of America? So overall, if you're wondering, should I book Pride of America? I hope those recommendations were helpful.
Absolutely.
If you're not sure, go ahead and watch our full cruise tour of the whole ship.
And dining review.
Each dining review, and then of course each day, and I think you'll be able to make that decision more. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. It does take a lot of effort to put these videos together, and that helps us to produce future content. So thanks for checking out the sail away, and we'll see you in the next video. Happy traveling.